for others to see the greatness in our children beyond the borders of Mount Vernon that we see and get to enjoy. And this evening, we have two presentations that we will be sharing with the board. One is a presentation on Mandela, and other is the presentation on our budget. And for the purposes of efficiency, we will do our Mandela presentation first, and I will give you some background information on that, just as an overview. So as you know, the building currently known as Mandela Zollicoffer High School, Nelson Mandela Zollicoffer High School, is being converted to a pre-K-8 building. This is essentially the executive summary of the presentation. It is being converted to a pre-K-8 building. And this came about as a need for our district to make more room to provide one additional neighborhood school for the new buildings that are in the district that are either already complete and will soon be ready for occupancy, or will soon be completed and will require additional space. Additionally, we want to make certain that we create additional space for our pre-K-8 expansion across the district. So those elementary schools that are currently overcrowded and do not have room for this expansion, this additional facility gives us the opportunity to do so. So we have met with the Mandela administration, and based on some of the concerns that they have expressed and brought to our attention, we have revamped our proposal, and we believe we have captured their concerns in a solution that will both provide greater opportunities for students and respond to the concerns expressed by the administrative team there. We have been tasked with looking at how we might be able to provide Mandela students with a more effective program that would engage them more, increase their attendance and graduation rates, and we're also looking at options that will provide them with a new set of skills that would lead them to meaningful employment with a trade where they will be certificated to enter into the workforce or college if they elect to do so. In meeting with the BOCES staff yesterday, we decided that there were certain components necessary based on our philosophy associated with our students and those things that those pillars that we deem most appropriate for our students that BOCES could not provide alone. So we have developed a hybrid proposal for you this evening for your consideration that captures these components, that makes certain that we maintain the integrity of a nurturing environment, small learning communities for our students, and engage them in an academic rigorous program. With that being said, I will pass give Mrs. Dr. Walden and Dr. Bennett Conroy the opportunity to present the proposal, and I applaud you in advance for your work with making these revisions after our meeting with the administrative body. Dr. Walden.
Good evening. Thank you very much, Dr. Hamilton, Superintendent of Schools, to our board trustees, President Zamore, administrators, teachers, community leaders, parents, and students present. Good evening. It is with great pleasure that we present a transformational plan for our Mandela School. With that being said, we want to frame it along the past, the present, and the future. I see a number of staff members and leaders from Mandela School. If you could just stand, we want to acknowledge you and your hard work. We acknowledge you this evening because of the very small, nurturing, personalized learning environment you have created at Mandela. As you walk through the halls, it's a caring and committed community, a family, if you will, of administrators, teachers, staff, and parents. Graduation rates are on the rise, lower incidents of student suspensions and infractions, and named after great leaders. None other than Nelson Mandela and our beloved principal, Dr. Hosea Zollicoffer, who made his transition in 2011. So one of the things that we want to share is framing the conversation around data. Understanding that our graduation rate is on the rise, although our state standard is 80%. So we are trending in an upward direction, looking at our June and August cohort. As we look at our high schools and we compare all three programs, we see that Mandela is slightly below that of Mount Vernon High School, as well as Thornton. So we see that there are some performance gaps. And as we look at our August cohort data, we see that that is so as we even look at our August cohort, a 4-year outcome rate. So as we look at the performance, we also look at engagement, attendance, and we see that over time from September 2015 to the very end of February, that our attendance rate hasn't risen over 60%. So one of the measures when we look at accountability is our percentage of youngsters that score at least a 75, if not better, a 80 in ELA and mathematics, because this is our benchmark in terms of college and career readiness. So that being said, you'll see that 2013-14 school year, we were at 21%, where students were able to obtain at least a 75 or higher. And we see when we look at the district, there's a 7% gap. And then over time in 2014-15 school year, we see that it is an 11% gap. As we go through time in school year 2015-16, a 19% gap from 21% to 40% at the district level. And then our snapshot in January, our Mandela students, many of them were able to achieve 25% versus the district 47%. So there was about a 22% gap. In mathematics, when we look at the performance of some of the students reaching the benchmark of college and career readiness, we see that there is a distinction of that of our Mandela students and our district students. So in school year 2013-14, a 7% gap. It increased at 14% the next school year. And we're able to lower that gap a bit at 6%. And understanding that we didn't have students that reached that 80% benchmark. And we say that because that means when you graduate high school, you don't have to take remedial coursework your first year. So as we look at our comparison of our graduation rates over time, our Mandela student versus our district and our state average, we see that our students need additional supports in place. Understanding the benchmark nationally and across the state is 80% graduation rate. So as we look at an analysis of our rate from comparing 4-year cohort and 5-year cohort, we see that there's a difference between our Mandela 5-year and our district 4-year cohorts. 8% distinction or difference in school year 2014, 8% again in school year 15, then a larger gap, and then our snapshot just recently for this year, 21%. So as we look at what are our plans of action, I discussed the past and the present. So currently, right now, we're looking at having a customized student cohort analysis. So who are our youngsters? What are their needs? We know that we have an age span of age 14 to 20-year-old students in the school. And as we look at their transcript and create a customized approach, we see that there are 13 grade 9 students, 38 grade 10 students, 53 grade 11 students, and 37 grade 12 students. So when we look at our graduation, we're expecting to graduate in June 37 youngsters. In our August snapshot with interventions in the summer, another 20. So when we look at the transformational plan, Our 141 students have now been reduced significantly to about 53 to no more than 90 or so students. So what's the big picture analysis? It's around customization, student inventory, creating a program for every student based on their needs. Regents pass rate and completion, credit accumulation, and career interest. How will this occur? Through individualized guidance meetings with every student and parent, with school and district guidance team members, encompassing our central office administration, building administration, our guidance counselors, and teachers. Why? Because we understand that we want to support our students in Mandela so that they can have future success. And one of the best ways when we talk about a vision and ensuring that we have a community that supports and takes care of our young people, there is a vision, our 2020 vision, refine, responsive, and re-envision. And so now we're going to talk about the future of our Mandela students and our transformational plan where we continue to support their individualized needs. And so Dr. Wavelyn Bennett Conroy will now address you with our plan of action. Let's give her a hand.
Good evening, everyone. Good evening. I need